Our next speaker has more than 30 years of experience in the industry, and he's very active and engaged in the IT communities and the professional networks. Doncho Angelov is Director Enterprise Solutions at Musala Soft, and today he's going to share with us some interesting experiment he did with ChatGPT 4, whether we can create applications with the technology that we don't know. So Doncho, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. It's always a challenge and a pleasure to present in front of so many familiar faces. So thank you for giving me this time of today's presentation. I have a very old meme here, or a story I want to start with. Just watch throughout it in kind of in silence. It's only 3 slides. Okay, now I'm going to make my point. My first interaction with whatever AI related was, I think, in 1993. A colleague of mine, I was first year student in a technical university, and a colleague of mine was experimenting with AI, and he was teaching a C++ program to, I think, to recognize a vase, you know, from a picture, 640 by 480 at that time. It took him approximately 2 weeks to that thing to start recognizing this given vase, and that was 1990 something, 1993, I think. Then the first real touch of AI-ish functionality was when back at Milestone, I think it was 2012, 13, where we had the LPR software, license plate recognition. And at that time, throughout the shows, the nice promoters are coming out with the license plates, and automatically the software detects the license plates and prints it out on the stage on a big monitor. Way more exciting stuff was actually the promoters, but also the functionality behind it was really, really useful for the business. Fast forward 2014, 2017. Again, the same company, a small device this size, like a set-top box under your TV, with I think 14 or 18 NVIDIA processors, was able to automatically detect age, height, gender, and if that is a small patient or not. That was in a child hospital in Barcelona, the whole thing. And that was starting to be a little bit scary, because this thing started to take the job of the very tired technician who would usually sit and look at a set of monitors, set of cameras, if a kid would trespass throughout a given border. Because in a hospital, kids, they're not always tied up to a given perimeter, but still security has to take care for that. So far, I was excited. Very nice, very fast and efficient use of AI, but I was not scared yet. The scare came in 2022, when I was part of another company, and me and my manager, we had to write my evaluation. Of course, he gave me the feedback in the bulletish points, but HR insisted that this description field must be filled out there, so he copy-pasted that in ChatGPT and told ChatGPT, please generate me a general description for that. He did pretty well. We used that, and it worked. Well, both myself and he doesn't work in this company anymore, not because of this, but that was the point where I started realizing that something big is happening. And then I started experimenting. My talk today is about that, this kind of experiment, because I'm sure in this audience there are people who know about that at my level back then. They've seen AI, they've seen some pretty interesting, sometimes funny memes or whatever that's called in English. And they say, okay, it's fun. There are some who experimented already, and they are a little bit, okay, this is interesting, let's see what's going to happen. And there are some who already use it. And this talk is actually about the first two kinds, because I think if you're not using it anymore, you're kind of behind. I realized that a year ago, because I saw that if I don't start getting benefits from this thing, it will make me obsolete. Me, as a manager, as a developer, as a director, whatever, whatever role you have, if you're sitting back, it's like you're going to end up in a situation, imagine 20,000, 23 years ago, and you still have no idea what internet is. So, this talk, what is it about? I wanted, and I want to show you that experiment where I picked up technologies which I'm not that familiar with. My technical background is primarily C++ and primarily 15, 20 years ago. Dart I know because I like experimenting with it, but I never built anything kind of production ready in Dart. So I gave myself that task. I want to have a backend. I want to have a front end, Flutter, of course, because again, Dart, but platform-wise. DB, which is SQLite, and then all that thing containerized and running. Backend, I wanted to have a container. And don't read this prompt, by the way. At the end of the presentation, I'm going to give you my GitHub repository with all the code and all my prompts in a file. So don't read much. I know that you go and start reading. But this prompt is, dear ChatGPT, help me build my backend container. It did, provided tons of stuff out there, which I directly copy-pasted. And I was that close to start running it. It gave me tons of info. As I said, database suggestions already. It didn't know that I'm going to use SQLite, but it suggested it. Gave me the files and everything, and I said, okay, let's see what goes on. But I didn't know how to put SQLite, so I asked it again how to include that SQLite in my container, and it helped. It said, okay, you have to modify this and this and that. Then I tried to build my container, and it failed, of course, because the backend was still not there. It was just an empty backend container. Again, the next prompt, it gave me what I needed so that I have my container. And then it came the first hiccup, in the sense that so far ChatGPT was one-to-one, like a senior developer of mine. Imagine me in a role of a PO or PM asking a senior developer to do this and this and this and that, and it answering and giving code. But then it came the first hiccup. The reason why? ChatGPT is 2022, and the information in the container was not the information in the Docker file was not good enough, so I had to fix build errors. It failed helping me that. It provided an answer which didn't work. So that was the moment when I said, okay, maybe it's not that scary yet. Bing, the successor, well, not successor, but a parallel thing, again, built on the basis of OpenAI's technology, also gloriously failed. It provided me a set of information. However, that information was not enough, so I had to put the senior developer hat. This is the only place in this presentation where I was almost convinced that if I don't do this myself, I won't be able to present today to you, because there is nothing to present. But using the links from ChatGPT already, and using some of the suggestions from the other search, nothing more, no Googling yet, I was able to find out the reason why it doesn't work and fix it. But that's, again, that's the only part where I should have had some engineering experience. and not engineering experience in that particular field, just engineering experience being able to read and understand technical problem. The problem is obvious, of course. It's, again, an old container, old information in ChatGPT, which produced, I would say, hallucination, because this would never, ever work, even if the versions were right. And then I got my backend. I get my backend on my developer machine, but when I put it in the container, that was the result. Nothing out there. And again, I know what Docker is. I've been to many Docker trainings, but it was strange for me. And then, again, reached out to ChatGPT. That was my prompt. OK, it doesn't work. Please help me. That was the answer. Now, I'm not a security guy. I have no idea if that's really, really good. But for my proof of concept, that was pretty much enough. And then, with that change, my backend worked as a container. So far, I was able to pronounce the backend ready. And then I realized it's only 25 minutes presentation. So I had to ditch my SQLite plans and directly ask ChatGPT to give me a stub for my users, because I want to show you something at the end, at least as a presentation. It did so, and after I applied the code, it returned to me. My backend was ready. By the way, if you're in QA or even in dev, and if you're not using ChatGPT yet to produce at least test data for you, you're wasting time. You have to consider that. Start researching and start being more effective with that. Then it came the front end. A straightforward prompt. Please give me my front end. It has to be this and this and that. And voila, front end was there. Built front end, and then came this dreadful coarse middle nightmare where prompt, error, sorry, not prompt, which again, I was struggling, what's going on, why it doesn't work. Asked ChatGPT, told me do that. But that was again outdated. However, this time, when I explained my problem, there was absolutely no need to put any technical hat, because it said, OK, you can't use that library, use something else. And so I did. And after I applied that fix, it again worked. That's how many prompts it took to do this project. 12 prompts. You can see them in the handouts in this presentation. 12 prompts from 0 to something as a proof of concept by using primarily the technology. And the technology is still young. We'll see, and we will be amazed a year or so from now. And again, I already mentioned that. If you're on this presentation, you clearly are interested in this area. You probably already do, like we do in Musala today, like many other companies utilize AI. But if you're not, as a person using that technology, you're starting to obsolete yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that, because AI will not take your job. You will give up your job to AI. If you don't step up and start using even the free version and start learning prompts, by the way, prompt engineering is one of the toughest things someone who struggles with AI to learn, because what's the usual learning cycle? You write something, it tells you something, you say, OK, that's bullshit. That doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work, because you do not provide the right prompt. You have to treat that prompt engineering with respect, but it comes with experience. So if you're not using it already, start using it. Otherwise, it's this thing all over again. Now, I'm not talking about AI enslaving us. It's our choice to decide at which side we have to sit. Shall we sit on the side of reactive people waiting to be called by the HR because AI can do this better than you can, or to sit at the side where we can actually provide and be way more productive, because this is just an example today. The actual true productivity you're going to see when you start using the product, when you start using the product in your daily job, when you truly find out and resolve business problems. And you can. You can if you do it right. And I think that was it as a content. I had to rush through a little bit. I have also prepared even a demo, but we don't have time because I want to have a couple of minutes for questions. So we have like maybe 2 minutes. That will be a couple of questions if someone dares to ask. Jančo? I think you can ask it. I'm going to repeat the question. So.
My question is, how does it feel to see something running and not understanding really why and how it works? So how does it feel to get something that works, but you don't really understand why and how it works? And what was actually the purpose of the POC? To see if you can do this through ChatGPT or to achieve something. And second question, what about next stage?
Okay.
Using it in a way that like half of the things will happen without you or the team understanding why it works.
Okay, cool. So the first question, how does it feel? It feels strange because you see the thing working. I just want to make one bracket here. It's not that I don't understand why it works and how it works. Some of the things like this course thing, for example, I don't know why it gave that error, but I'm a developer. What I was doing is I took a technology which I do not know that well, and I did something with it. But when I see the code, I can read the code and I can understand why the code works. So, but that question I like a lot because it actually tells me to also say something to this audience, because if you're not going to use that technology to help you in your business, at least use it to teach you new business, because this thing taught me Dart, taught me Flutter. When I ask ChatGPT any kind of question which relates to my current learning, it can help me. It can help me with examples. It's great explainer. It can give you explanation. It can give you links to refer later. So it's a great learning tool, not just to learn AI, but to learn anything practically. So that was the first question. And the second, what would be the next for me? I have, everyone has personal projects. I have one. For 1 year, I'm almost ready with the first form of the mobile application, so it's going really well. And I still plan to at least run ChatGPT with the stuff which I want to develop myself personally, but also I'm using that more and more for work. So sky is the limit. I have no idea what's going to be 1 year from now. I just know that probably I'm still a step behind. So it's kind of a constant urge.
Do we have any other questions?
I have one question about the future of this technology. You said that it is important to keep up with it and stuff like prompt engineering, but what do you think about the possibility of this technology and, for example, ChatGPT developing a more complex model which will be able to understand a simpler speech, for example, and you won't need stuff like prompt engineering, and you will need less technical knowledge to accomplish this, which you want?
Okay.
For example, a year or two in the future?
I'm not worried yet for that part because the saying says that until the customer knows how to directly explain to the computer what they need, we are safe, because someone has to translate that into reality. ChatGPT already understands speech, so prompt engineering itself is not a big issue. You still need to learn how to talk to it, because it's a robot. It's actually not even a robot, it's a transformer. It's a standard machine. It feels like an AI, but you know, it's not yet there. It's not a general AI. Then we're screwed.
Yes, I understand this, but I'm talking about the future because I have the feeling if you have a neural network which has some higher level of complexity, it will be able to do more and more of the stuff which humans do.
It will be. It will be able to do more and more, and that's why I'm saying that if you don't hop on the train, you're gonna miss the train. So, and I can't make a prediction. Really, it's developing so fast and so everywhere that I don't know. You got me. That's a question I can't answer. I don't think that we have any more time. Thank you very much again for your time, and if you have any questions, we can talk later.